What is up? Welcome back to Otaku, back for our final review of the Jump Tezuka series. We picked 3, just kind of pretty much random. We each found it on our own way, and we're going to end it on just 3 that we personally picked. No other factors are involved. Thanks for watching ahead of time. It's been fun doing it. We will have another video where we will go through all of our winners that we previously had and then pick our winner. Just asterisk on that. We are not the Tezuka production people, so we're not picking the official winner. We're picking the official winner in all of our hearts. So,
yeah, but Tezuka's more than welcome to come by and say, hey, we loved it. Next year, you guys.
Give us a
on
job.
our show."
yeah. So the 3 we're doing this week is going to be Scrap Circus by Pablo Diaz. Then we're going to do Icarus Rising by Brandon Chen and Mohammed Ali. And then we're going to move on to Tento by Ryai. In that order, no idea if that's the actual Muhammad Ali as we were talking about before. So
It was his last work.
Yeah, they all.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
that might be trust. Why it is the #1 most viewed on the whole site. So maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So starting off with Scrap Circus, I'm going to take you through that one, and then we'll move in the order that I gave. Almost 100 years ago, a decade where after the Great War, great empires collapsed. A decade where the world faced on the biggest economic crisis in history. An era where crime and poverty grew, but those dark times have just begun. So you would think it's going to be a pretty dark manga, but that's really not the case. And we get to see a black and white 2-page spread of, it's kind of like your classic mystery where you see a woman smoking, sitting in a chair beside a body with a bullet through his head. A door opens, and that's when a military man appears and congratulates her on the job well done. Here we find out she's referred to the fastest shot in the entire QG, known as the Night Devil, Darcy White. The man she just killed was suspected of forging the last revolts of the working class. Darcy informs the man that she wants to quit, but alas, she can't because she is still of great use to the nation, according to the man. He then gives her a quick reminder saying that there's no happy ending for a woman like you, so forget it, and then he sends her off to investigate the reports of a Frankenstein monster in the alleys of the East Side and the genius who made it. We cut to a young boy who is trying to watch a baseball game through a peephole. Someone ends up blocking his view, so he tries to find the perfect amount of rubbish to be able to peek over the fence. That is until a young boy is walking by with some ice cream, and just 2 random dudes walk by behind as well. The 2 dudes see him peeking over the fence, like, hey, watch this, kick the shit out from underneath of him, cause him to fall onto the other kid, ruining that kid's ice cream. We get a Tom and Jerry style chase begin between the 2 young boys, until eventually our MC bumps into the back of a lady. This lady turns around and we see it's Darcy White, who asks the other boy what's his problem, and it scares him off. She talks to our MC saying she's looking for a mechanic, and this is where we get the introduction of our MC, John Mills, the best mechanic in the entire street. He says his gratitude for her help. Her repair will be completely free. Darcy says she's having car problems, and then off they go to John's workshop. Upon arrival, an old man and his grandchild show up, and he's kind of telling his reality show sob story immediately. He worked for the city for years. The factory shut down. He couldn't find a new job. He got lots of debt. But luckily, 2 good men, out of the greatness of their heart, bought the few things that he actually had, and now he has a little bit of money. So now all he wants to do is to repair his old tractor and go back to his simple childhood life and eat what he plants. He then holds out a wad of cash and asks Mills to please fix his tractor. Darcy immediately recognizes that the money the man is offering is false, but Mills just instantly agrees. That is under one condition, and he asks the old man to just please grab tool number 11 off of the wall for him. The man agrees and goes to grab it, but you get to see the old man start to squint, his hands are shaking, and he ends up grabbing the wrong number tool, not knowing any better. He hands it to Mills, who says thanks, and he'll fix his tractor tomorrow, no problem. After the man leaves, Darcy questions Mills, asking that he must have also realized it, that the man had poor eyesight, and the 2 good men that he was talking about also knew that and bought everything from the old man using fake money. Mills replies saying it costs nothing to fix the tractor, so of course he's going to do it. And just as Mills is finally about to go back to fixing Darcy's car, his stomach begins to hurt, so he has to run off to the bathroom. Darcy, of course, uses this opportunity to begin snooping around and see if he is really the genius that she is looking for. She begins hearing weird noises coming from one of the doors, and she heads towards it and opens the door, seeing a buff-ass robot just lifting some weights. Mills comes out of the bathroom, immediately seeing that special door is now opened, run towards it, sees Darcy now standing next to 2 robots, one of them the buff-ass robot and one of them like a majestic little ballerina robot. He explains to her that these are called automatons and he made them, and he would really appreciate if this could just be their little secret. Darcy immediately begins fantasizing about all the uses of being able to create these automatons. You could build an army, you can achieve unimaginable power, you could even be a ruler. At which point Mills chimes in saying, what a cliche, I have such a better plan. I want to build the most amazing circus ever, which Darcy does not agree with. Darcy eventually does some inner thinking after hearing this childlike idea, and reality hits, thinking if the senior leader knows about this, he will be forced to create more and more weapons, he'll be brainwashed, it will become something bad, a garbage like me. So real low self-esteem from Darcy there. Mills asks what she thinks, and she says it's a really good idea, and then says, don't worry, I won't tell anybody, and goes to leave. Darcy exits the garage. It's nighttime now. She's smoking her cig, walking down the street, when she hears somebody step behind her. She turns around, but unfortunately gets shot right in the shoulder. We see it's the captain from the beginning of the manga, and he says nothing personal, just discarding the scrap. And that's when Mills runs out, having heard the gunshot, and distracts the captain for a second, calling out to Darcy, and that gives Darcy the ability to pull out her gun and shoot the captain right in the dome. Well, really the emblem on his hat, so unfortunately he ends up just getting up, no problem, and proceeds to sucker punch Darcy in her goddamn mouth. This pisses off Mills, who tries to provoke him into punching him, which the captain does, so congratulations to Mills there. Darcy yells for Mills to run, but Mills on the ground smirks and says, don't miss this time, and slides Darcy the gun of the captain that he stole as he was getting punched. Darcy gets up, points the gun to the captain, but the captain says, even if you do shoot me, my other men will take you down, and we see 3 other men are there as well. We get the time-old, saying motif, where she says, who said I'm aiming for you? And then we see Darcy shoots a acetylene cylinder. I don't know if that's actually a real thing, but it causes an explosion and a lot of gas begins flying everywhere. The captain and his men reappear unscathed, laughing that her little suicide trick didn't work, and now he'll definitely kill her and the boy. But from the smoke/gas, we hear, of course, that was just a distraction until I prepare everything for the main event of my show. Then we get a beautiful 2-page spread of just like a giant-ass mechanic dragon and its introduction of Fear, the abominable man-eater. The dragon takes an attack. The men try to shoot it, but it does nothing against its metal body. This causes the captain's men to turn tail and run. The dragon roars, and that then causes the captain himself to run off as well, promising to come back and kill Darcy himself. Darcy, on the ground because she is shot in the fucking shoulder, apologizes to Mills, saying it's her fault, but then promises to not let them touch Mills. On our last page, we get Darcy asking Mills one last question as to why he saved her. Mills replies saying, I don't need a reason. Saving someone's life is already a good thing in itself. Darcy replies, thanks, Mills, and that is the end of the manga.
I need a cigarette after that one.
Yeah, I need to lower the lights in the room and sit near the blinds so I get a cigarette.
Very detective-y, very noir.
Yeah.
Like Sin City almost.
Yeah,
And
Very
really.
much so. That's what I thought it was at first. I'm like, huh.
I feel like the black and white thing is kind of died off. Like that Sin City like detective thing. Like it's like nobody really does that anymore. It's like, guys, we beat that shit into the ground a few years ago, so we're probably gonna stick away from that.
So I don't know, but you know what is like actually back? Apparently art styles like Archie. Like I don't know if we've just picked them or what, or if there's like some manga style that we just don't know, but I didn't know so many people like that style, like the Archie style, because it does do the like noir, and then the whole rest of the story is very bright and like kind of fun, go get 'em. I don't know, it was just
But even
it's
like
weird.
Darcy through the whole thing was drawn that exact same style.
Yeah.
So it's like you basically got like Darcy is from the detective dark side of it, and then it's like you meet Mills where he's just like the happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's up? What's going on? It's like, I'm the mechanic. Hey. It's like, oh. And then Darcy and the captain are like, yeah, we're kind of going to kill this guy and force him into labor. One of the two.
Yep.
So, but it was good. It was very simple. It was fun. It kind of reminded me like, I didn't get so much of an Archie art style off of it, but I would agree that it is kind of like a classic, like Sunday comic, like a fun, like, oh, look at this funny thing that happened.
Definitely a comic strip read.
Yeah, like the classic, like here's a really serious event that's happening, and here's like just a happy-go-lucky kid who's just kind of like Home Alone almost.
Yeah, and I agree. I really liked it too. I would think this one's got like strong, like story, like one-shot story episode kind of potential. Like, hey, Darcy and Mills are out today, and he made this wacky invention.
Yeah.
And like, I think it would be really fun.
Yeah. It leaves it wide open to do a lot of myriad of other things.
But
They did go
it also
more
has
into
potential
detail.
for murder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Because they do go more into detail too. Where I didn't mention it, but they do kind of make a big deal about him figuring out like the heart glue. I believe what it's
soul
called.
glue or something.
But
like
they
that.
don't touch on it ever again because like the captain doesn't know. But I can see that coming into play later, where it's like, oh, he can basically create life.
You know damn well we're gonna see one of those robots die in front of us, and it's gonna be heart wrenching as fuck.
Yeah.
It's his best friend too.
Mm-hmm. This is really just leading up to him creating Iron Man, and then we're
No, I'm out.
Are you sure it's not Ultron?
Well,
Ooh, that would be cool.
could be either. Okay, Ultron's cool. Iron Man's not apparently.
I watched the 24-hour marathon when it played years and years ago, and I cannot watch that movie because it still physically hurts to watch.
The
Him
first
die
Iron
every
Man?
time. Not Iron Man. No, I meant Iron Giant. I'm sorry, derp.
It's like, what are you talking about?
I'm so dumb. Oh my god.
So anything else to say about the manga? I feel like it's a good one. It's pretty straightforward. There's not much to say.
I love
there
the
was
art style with it.
art style I thought was very good. There were a few times where like the sentence structure didn't make sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it was like everyone the garbage line specifically kind of stuck out, but yeah, it was like super good. And then about halfway through, you got like one line, you're like, huh?
Yeah, and it was
And
like
then-
it was just weird enough where it wasn't all the way through, but like. Let's say like I don't know, once every 9 pages or something, there would be one text bubble where it's like, what? I'm not so
And-
sure that's what that was supposed to be.
That could have just been like a editor mess up, like, but yeah, I don't know. It was not unreadable. Like some of them are, where
wasn't
you have to
bad,
like
there's
really
some-
think.
Sometimes it's kind of hard to read some of them where you go back and read it a couple times. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what he meant to say.
Yeah, like you get some puzzle pieces, and you're like, okay, here's what it says on the page. Here's what it looks like on the page. Got to put those together. Yeah.
Yeah, they
It was-
wanted to give you a little bit of mystery to go with the mystery. Yeah.
I'm dyslexic, so it just looks normal to me, guys.
Jose's just like, okay, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait to have us write a fucking manga with you then.
Oh no.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next one. That was Scrap Circus by Pablo Diaz. Next, we're going to move on to Icarus Rising by Brandon Chen and Muhammad Ali.
All right, so this one begins with the often overlooked lyric from John Lennon's song Imagine. So here we go. Imagine a world where every inch is scorched by war, a world where the weak perish and the strong abandon us, which is just one of my favorite lines.
It's
from
just
that
one of the
song.
lyrics he took out, right? Later
Yeah,
on.
it's super good. No one really talks about it. While this is all being read to us, we're getting a little spread where we get a massive beast, which are called Terras, and it's fighting the mother of a family of 5, while the father and the 3 children are attempting to flee. And then we also see the angels who are looking down on them as they're fighting for their lives, and they all fly up to their city, kind of just giving them the cold shoulder, and they're just saying deuces. So this is, of course, all a dream from 10 years ago, and our main character wakes up. His name is Icarus, and he sees his sister Kore looking over at the stars, and she's looking out at the angel city, and she's getting hope from it. And this is when we get a brief flashback from their older brother Elias, who was using bionic wings to try and soar up towards it. So despite his request for peace, Elias was killed by the angels, and Icarus still holds a lot of resentment for this. But after some lighthearted sibling bants and whatnot, the two of them meet up with their father for dinner. Corey is clearly wanting to start like a fight with them, because right off the bat she asks asks her father whether or not the angels will be coming back down to save them all from the terrace. The father calmly basically lays it out, saying they're probably just waiting for us all to die off, which was really fucked up but true. And despite that obvious truth, Corey is now triggered, and before she can do anything, the candle is blown out, signaling the arrival of a massive terrace. The terrace immediately grabs Corey and pulls her away. Icarus goes to grab his mother's sword from the case, but while the father is just sitting there paralyzed. While he's able to strike the beast, he's not able to do damage to it, and he's immediately flung away. And without skipping a beat, the beast fires like a massive energy blast at him. Now the father steps in and starts shooting him with a gun. Corey's relieved to see that Icarus didn't die from that attack, and she's all happy, and then is immediately killed brutally in the hands of the terrorists, which was really mega fucked up. They didn't like save anything. That kind of sends the two of them into a massive rage, and they start blowing the fuck out of this thing, and they eventually kill it. Despite their victory, obviously the sister died, and despair starts to set in because they're surrounded by a bunch of fucking terrorists. So this is when Daedalus, which is the name of the father, he decides that this is now the time, and he gives a jetpack of bionic wings to Icarus, which he had saved and made for their older brother Elias. He basically wants Icarus to be the survivor of this. He wants him to leave. He feels bad that he wasn't able to save the mother or the daughter or Elias, but he's being selfish and wants him to survive. Despite all of this, Icarus pretty much says, nah, I'm going to go keep my siblings' dreams, and I'm going to fly to the Sky Palace and request help from the angels. And even though this is a horrible idea with statistics like heavily against him, Daedalus pretty much just says, oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. I do believe you. Changes his whole attitude, and Icarus then starts to fly away and tells him that, you know, the death of all the family members by like the obviously evil beings that you can't really kill, that's not your fault, and then flies away. We now cut to a massive chamber where we meet the angel prince Eos, and he's speaking to his father about Icarus's arrival. During his pleas, it is explained that the angels pretty much abandoned the humans because of their greed and for having overstepped their boundaries and betraying the angels. Despite all the pleas, the king tells Eos to go pluck Icarus's wings. Eos begins to reflect on the humans' tragedies as he's witnessed a lot, but he specifically remembers one that he had killed a few years ago, which was Icarus's brother Elias. This is when we get like a little flashback of Elias basically saying, hey, my brother's going to come up here one day. He's only looking for peace. If you meet him, just like spare him. Then we come back to Icarus dodging all the angels' defenses, all while having like a mental pep talk with his brother. And during this, he's asking, aren't you afraid of your fears of dying? You leaving your father to die alone, discarding your sister's dreams and all that such, and that there's no hope really to save the world. Does that scare you? And Icarus kind of rehardens his resolve and tells his brother, no, like, I'm going to do this. And that's when he gets all the way up to the top of the gates of the city, and he is met by Eos, who's just sitting there all by himself, floating and glorious. Before Icarus can even react, Eos blows through one of his wings with his spear and begins to fall, but then Eos catches him and pretty much asks, why did you come here? Icarus says he's here to ask for help and forgiveness for the humans who rebelled against them, and this is enough for Eos to justify bringing Icarus before his father. Obviously, Zeus is pissed as fuck because he just told his son to go kill this guy, but Icarus bows to him and he's pretty much like, okay, I'll give this guy a test at least. He decides to test him by asking if Icarus despises the angels, especially Eos, because he's the one that pretty much just watched his mother die and could have saved her. Icarus says, pretty much let bygones be bygones and asks what the remaining humans be saved. Eos sees no greed or vengeance in his eyes and decides that he will help save Icarus's father, as the corruption of the terrorists is too much for normal angels. Zeus then rebuttals, saying that their holy energy is what keeps them immortal, and that when he goes down there, it'll be sapped from his body and he will become mortal. Eos is okay with this, as he believes in Icarus and that he owes him a great debt, and you get a little flash to his mother and his brother dying. Zeus then takes his son's word and then bestows Icarus with the powers of an angel with black wings, which is going to allow him to protect himself because the angels really aren't going to be able to help them too much. Icarus then vows to Zeus that he will cleanse the world of the terrorists, and then him and Eos head out. As they're leaving, Eos reminds Icarus that he is the one that killed Elias and asks if that changes his resolve. Icarus then just chalks it up to basically that increases Eos's debt to Icarus, and that he knows that he was probably just following orders and they're all caught in the same kind of cycle. We cut back to Daedalus, who is now being surrounded by all the terrorists, and then there's a massive explosion, which is actually just Icarus throwing his katana, his mother's katana, down into the ground and exploding. He then rushes in despite Eos's pleas and then begins to wall up a bunch of terrorists and blows them all up. While he's, checking in on his dad, kind of giving him the thumbs up, he's ambushed by another Terra, but Eos shoots his spear down and scolds him for not having finished what he had started. Then we get a classic team up where the two begin to fight the Legion of Terrorists while Ballroom Blitz starts playing in the background in your head, and that's pretty much it. So I thought it was super good. This is the number one viewed, highest ranking.
Yeah, 2 million.
2 million. But we had previously done a like
The
top
top three.
three, and this was the one that was like coming up, blowing smoke in everyone's ass, and got super hyped. So I saw it and was like, "Hey,
Before we
I wanna
even
pick
released
this
that
one.
video, is number one already.
what?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
By the
That's
by
right."
the time it was released, yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's got some merit. I want to check that out. There's obviously a few others that we had been told about, but since this one was written by my boy Muhammad Ali, had to check it out.
Yeah, were you close with Muhammad Ali?
I don't like to talk about it, and
Okay.
it's just out of respect for him. But yeah, they're pretty close. So what did you guys think? I thought like the artwork and everything was fantastic with it.
Yeah, it was good. It
Yeah.
seems to me like it's kind of riding the genre coattails of like an Attack on Titan, where it's going to be
Yeah.
that same sort of setup where it's like these group of people against an unending, overpowered wave of bullshit. And it's just like that's basically what it's going to be. And
there's
which is cool.
Yeah, there's like super fucked up shit that happens where it's
I,
like,
I do think the gruesomeness adds a lot to it, especially like the way the sister just got,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, because that was like his reason for fighting right there, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden she just gets killed, and it's like, well, fuck.
Do
And
we know she's dead though? Because she
think
could
so.
still be
There's-
alive. They brought the
well-
body back up to the tower and it was just laying up there.
I was gonna say that. I was like, yeah, we do see her
Ooh.
body, and we see him,
I
the
mean,
father clutching her.
With the powers of an angel, I mean, right? They might be
Oh.
able to bring her back or something like that.
But I will rebuttal and say that the page where she dies, it goes crack or click, click, crack.
Yeah, there's a lot
And
of.
she's bleeding a bunch, and it's just that full moon shot where he's just holding it like it's Goku in fucking grade 8 form.
Well,
just-
I like how basically the
bitch.
whole reason that she got killed was because the monster knew that he was gonna die. So like he basically got shot, and then he saw the kid Icarus in front of him, saw the dad up top, and then he was like, "Okay, crack." It was just like, "Oh,
May as
okay."
well
Good
go
job.
out. Yeah.
It's like, "Fuck, I'm
Yeah.
gonna die, but I'm taking this bitch with me." And it's like,
which
okay.
is I like
That's-
that style of writing because that's how it would be.
Yeah,
Right.
those monsters are clearly spiteful.
I thought
Yeah,
when
they're-
he was holding him up at first, and it's like it caught me off guard because he held her up, and I was like, "Oh, is he gonna try to use her as like a shield?" Basically, is that
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
That's
you
what I
can't
thought
shoot
at
me, I'm
first.
holding," and then he's like, "Nah, blah." Just
Yep.
like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Now,
which was just
Sam,
like
would
somber.
it have been more intense if he threw the sword down through her?
I don't know.
Oof.
That would have been weird. That would have been weird. That would have been cool. That
He
would
But
could've
not
just
very
gone-
brotherly.
Yeah. I don't know if I like
So
that.
what is the Angels' grand plan, by the way? If they were like, if Icarus was up there, it was like, "Hey, I need you guys' help," and they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys are kind of beyond helping at this point." It's like, well, what are you gonna do when we die off? Like, where are you guys going? You're just gonna hang out up here forever?
I think they're actually chilling. Like it's
I
like
mean-
us in lockdown. It's like, oh, we've been put in lockdown. It's like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna go from the kitchen.
Yeah, but
to
it's
my
like there's
room.
no. It doesn't get better. Like the
Yeah.
monsters aren't gonna be like, "Hey, you know what? We actually have been alive for long enough. We've civilized now. We got our own little stuff. Maybe we can make a truce deal with a floating town that hangs
Oh,
out in
yeah,
the
yeah.
sky."
I don't know. I feel like it's probably one of those things where the terrorists are like they feed off humans, and then once there's no humans left, they'll start feeding on each other, and then they'll just die, kind of thing.
Why wouldn't they just try to go
And-
up
But
to
that
the
wouldn't.
top?
Yeah, I was gonna say at some point they're probably gonna want to go after
That-
the angels.
That's a case of evolution where we get a terrorist that decides it can fly.
He's like,
and
let
that's
me
when
grow
the
some
angels get
wings.
dicked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because the angels are immortal, so it's like really the terrorists have millions of years to evolve into whatever
Yeah.
they want.
Yeah. And I think humans will go into subterranean things, and then all of a sudden it's Gurren Lagann, you know? Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
It's a prequel to Gurren Lagann.
Yeah. I like it.
Very good. But yeah, art style was fucking good, of course.
Fantastic.
And the story was really interesting. And they set it up in like a really nice spot where it's like, yeah, they're just gonna be fighting fucked up shit. It's like, cool. I'm on board for that.
Yeah, I like it.
And the last thing I gotta say is that the action was, while it was confusing, like the action shots were super cool looking. Like it goes with the art style looking nice, but like just the massive impact of like the spears and stuff, like it looked really cool. Some of the
I
stuff
agree.
that happened was a little confusing, but I think that's just me with normal action scenes in manga. But
It was fine.
looked
Yeah,
really
everything was
dope.
pretty it flowed pretty easily.
Yeah, it was not by far like the worst like action scenes. It's just some stuff kind of flew over my head, like the spear.
Okay. Well, that was Icarus Rising by Brandon Chen and Muhammad Ali. We're going to move on to our last one, and it's Tento by Ryai.
So you guys have all seen Pokemon, right? We got another Pokemon styled one.
I'm glad we
Nah.
addressed the elephant in the room.
But it's cool. So they start off by introducing knights and how they're prestigious warriors. They battle alongside a partner, very similar to Digimon, Pokemon. There's kind of like magical creatures that kind of roam around, and you can find them pretty much anywhere. Immediately, we get introduced to our main character. So we meet Osin and his little buddy Tatsu, like the roller coaster.
Okay.
Right?
Only
Six
Six
Flags.
Flags boys will get that one.
Bring out your Coke cans. We're getting in free.
But he starts talking about how they're gonna go to this town. They're gonna become the best knight ever. They're gonna fill arenas, be super rich. They're gonna be famous and everything. And uh, the fantasy's kind of ruined by his growling stomach. To which he tells Tatsu, "Hey, buddy, hook me up with some food. Can you go up into the trees and find something?" I thought this was kind of funny that Tatsu finds an apple, but is like, "Yep, I got nothing." And then later's like,
that's the way to do it, man.
"Yeah, it's like that's how you know your bros, right? You're about to die of hunger, and your bro hides an apple from you."
Yeah, but your bro is being a dick saying, "Hey, peasant, go get me a fucking apple." It's like, yeah, that apple's for first come, first serve, bitch.
He ends up, JK, he drops it, which I thought the faces in that part were super funny, where he just
Yeah.
goes from super serious to that. But immediately when it drops, you kind of hear a quick thumping, and he's just confused. And keep in mind, they've been in this forest for a while now, and they come face to face with a dragon, the dragon Tento. Our little buddy Tatsu doesn't take too kindly to that, so he's like, "Hey, that's my apple you got in your mouth now," and proceeds to get in its face, and only for the dragon to literally pick him up and just toss him right back at our MC. Our MC is bleeding, and they're freaking out because the dragon is about to unleash a hyper beam at their face. As this happens, you see a female knight approach and refer to it as Blossom. So its name is Blossom, and she tells him to stop, not to play with your food like that, and she pats it on the head, which I thought it was really funny that it acts like it's being hurt and completely upset. She's accompanied by a girl that we address no other time at all. So we know that the dragon's name is Blossom, and so our MC introduces himself. He says, "I'm Osen, and this is my partner Tatsu." He's like, He's like, "We've traveled to Hibernia." He tells him it's because he wants to be a famous knight, and she's immediately like, "Well, I'm O'Reilly, the prettiest knight of them all." He then tells him how he left their village because he heard that knights were super amazing and they could do all these things. And he's like, "Luckily, I ran into my little Tatsu buddy." So as he's doing this, he remembers, "Hey, I have a map. I'm gonna show you where I came from and stuff." Shows her the map, but the map's just all drawn and squiggled on. And then she immediately notices one of the places that on there, and she's like, "Hey, we're gonna be passing through here. This is where there's a knight's hall." And he's like, "Please take me. I need to go. Absolutely." So her being the kind person that she is, she's like, "I'm gonna test you to see if you're even good enough to be a knight." And then they proceed to have a Pokemon battle. I mean, a Tento battle. He thinks he's gonna fight the big dragon, but no, she summons a little like rhino looking thing. It's super cute. And then she's immediately they do this thing called like spirit link, and it's almost like a fusion, but she gets this super cool knight armor, which I thought was super dose, and it's called Spirit Link Wildflower Bloom, to which RMC is just dumbfounded because he's never seen anything like this. She's like, "All right, aren't you guys gonna do it?" And he's like, "Nah, I've never done this before. I don't even know what it is." To which she explains, "Hey, this is a very important thing. This is the first step in becoming a knight." She then goes into explanations that basically by linking it with your partner, you kind of like heighten both your senses in battle. Uh, and that for them, they get a little smarter. They're a little bit more battle capable. And for her, you get sick ass armor and you can manifest weapons, which who doesn't want weapons? She immediately shows off a little bit, but doesn't actually kill our MC. And then she's like, nah, we're just gonna let these guys go at it. She also explains how it's very important that knights protect the people and just everything a knight should stand for. Immediately afterwards, she tells him that all knights kind of are competing to become the number one knight, so that should be his goal pretty much. And so he's like, "Okay, little buddy, are we ready to fight or what?" And they proceed to the battle, which is actually kind of a cool like battle. They
I was really hoping the fist bump they did was gonna turn them into Spirit Link,
see, I thought
but
that something like that would happen, but we don't because he's still learning. But
yeah.
it's a pretty normal battle, like exchanging blows, and then you find out that it can use kind of like wind techniques with its tail, which I thought was kind of crazy. And it's just beating up our boy Tatsu, to the point where Tatsu does a Captain America thing, and he's like, I can keep going all day, and he pulls his sleeve, kind of cool, and throws it like a shuriken almost. He misses intentionally, but hits a bunch of other leaves that causes it to kind of like rain leaves, and he just kind of uses them and hits the rhino like over and over again, to the point where it looks like he's got the upper hand. But then out of nowhere, you get Hurricane Rush and just kind of blows away everything. And then he goes in for like what looks like a killing blow, and it stabs through him. But he shadow clones
Leaf
or
clones?
leaf clones, leaf clones.
Hello?
So he leaf clones, and it's actually a pretty close match. And he does the primary Lotus about to drop onto him.
Jose's gonna get us trademark infringement.
Nah, we're good, okay. To which it's that classic standoff, like very much like Pokemon, where they both are very injured and they're standing up, but Tatsu ends up falling. And girl that does not get mentioned says, "Victor, Team Orla." Immediately afterwards, she says, "Hey, you guys kind of have a lot of potential. It's not just about what you want, but it's also going to be about what Tatsu wants." And she explains that they're going to do pretty well together. And she agrees to kind of like help him on his journey. And that's pretty much it right there.
Yeah, my main complaint after reading this was like, I wish I saw the two people fight more.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was
See-
thinking too. Because what's the point of her turning into the armor?
Because without that, and obviously I understand this is like the learning part, but without that, it's very much Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it was like I really wanted to see the part where the two help out also, or like they're like kind of doing combo attacks with their Pokemon. So, but it's
Yeah.
like it just didn't happen, and I could see that being the case of, oh, they can't Spirit Link, so it'd be like I'm
would
wearing
be-
literally knight armor.
I thought it was going to be a thing where they like link up towards the end when they're both about to get their ass beat, and I was just like, oh, that'd be super sick.
So when they initially debuted Spirit Link, I thought the Pokemon got absorbed, or the Tento got
See,
absorbed.
yeah, I thought it was gonna be like the Digimon, one of them,
Yeah.
where they
And-
become the Digimon.
which I thought would have been really cool. But yeah, like Sam said, it kind of is weird when the other person can't Spirit Link, which makes sense why it's like the basic fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, if they did have a Spirit Link fight where he didn't have Spirit Link, it would just be him running away while his Pokemon fought in a different room,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Very
It's
much
just
so.
like, all right, ready, set, go, and then the chick with the knight armor just chases you down.
Wah, wah.
It's like, best of luck. Yeah, he does
Fucking-
get called dead weight at the end. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like you're basically dead weight to Tatsu. So
Yeah, he took it very well though.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I would
you know.
be crying, probably would have headed home and given up on that dream.
well, I like how
held
the
a
whole
grudge.
thing is like they just met. Like Tatsu and our main character, they just met.
They literally, yeah. He even says along the way, I got lucky and found this little guy.
Yeah.
So what has he been training for like a week? And she commented like, "Oh wow, this is like really well drilled shit that he's doing." It's like
Mhm.
obviously
I-
they're like a good team.
At one point, she says, "Oh, that's one I've never seen before."
yeah.
Yep.
She mentions this one I've never seen before, and then to walk from where they started supposedly to where they are now would take several months.
Yeah, and they've done it in days,
Oh.
probably.
I don't know about that part, but okay.
Yep, I don't know.
So, but they do make so there is a possibility of them being together for like a while,
while.
but they did still, in the grand scheme of things, just meet. And I thought at first too, when he meets the dragon, that this was gonna basically be the Pokemon part with Ho-Oh, where it flies over.
Oh.
I literally
yeah.
thought that was gonna be this, only that's some like legendary guy, and then it was like, oh no, it's somebody else's. Okay, got it.
But that's cool though, so you can have multiple ones and kind of maybe interchange your
Yeah.
armor. That'd be sick, right?
You probably have like 6 balls at your hip, and you can choose.
Oh no,
which one
no,
you
not
Spirit
6
Link
balls,
with.
just
But it did look like they're just kind of out, right? Because when she
Yeah.
Yeah.
changed, she just like was like, where is he? Like where'd he go? And it's like, oh, there he is.
Yep.
that little devil.
Yeah. So you have him out. I like the art style. Thought the art style was very good.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're
Very
memeing on
clean.
it a lot, being close to Pokemon because that's just how it goes when you summon little monsters.
It wasn't just that it was a similar concept. Katsu or Tatsu
So-
has like a very similar vibe to like the Leaf Pokemon for one of like,
Trico.
the third Trico, yeah. Which when I saw him in like the second page, the way he was designed was kind of like a 3D model looking thing, and I was like, "Damn, we're skirting the line, aren't we?" But after
was-
that, it was pretty different.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool concept introducing the whole knight and the spirit linking thing, and I was like, oh, okay, this is sick. This is gonna be super crazy. If they explored a little bit more and stuff, and maybe had both of them fight, like Sam said, I think it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, that's where it could really distinguish itself, is if they start both fighting together. But obviously, they only get one chapter, so like this is kind of like, hey, here's the setup. Here's what one side could do with the cool armor, and they do show off her attack that like fucking breaks a tree or whatever.
Yeah.
So they do kind of hint at that, but it's like I would have liked to have seen that to just be a little bit more different.
Yeah.
It would be cool if he could absorb the Tento kind of thing, and then be like what's his name? From Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
When he absorbs the
Yeah, that would
spirit.
be cool. That would be cool.
This is super different from the previous Pokemon-ish entry we had, where they had like 3 variations, where it was a Pokemon trainer, get absorbed and have their powers, or like be inside of it or something like that. And we all shat on basically the one type where you're just like, yeah, just kill the trainer, because they're gonna die. Where basically now the trainer can get his ass kicked while the Pokemon's getting kicked. Now it's not like cockfighting; it's cockfighting while boxing's going on in the background too.
Yeah, it could be interesting. I would like to see more, hopefully.
Potential.
Okay, so let's talk about the 3 that we did, and let's pick our winner for this week. So starting from the first one we did Scrap Circus by Pablo Diaz. Then we did Icarus Rising by Brandon Chen and Muhammad Ali. Then we did Tento by Ryai. Let's start with Jose. Jose, you have one that you like the most out of any of them, and why?
I do. I actually really liked Icarus Rising.
Mhm.
It is very much in the stuff I would normally watch. Very shonen-y. As for what was the first one called? It was Scrap what?
Circus.
Scrap Circus. I liked it. I think if it would have kept up with the whole noir themed of stuff, I think I would have liked that one a lot more.
That's what that theme's called. Good. This is called Noir. Okay.
Yeah. And then for me, I did really like Tento, but it felt very much Pokemon-y still to
Mhm.
me. So if they included the night stuff, I may have swung more for this one. But for me, it's Icarus Rising.
Okay, Josh.
I'm kind of tossed. It like Scrap Circus was kind of unique. I liked it a lot. Icarus Rising is obviously like a popularity contest, and it's got like all the like heartstrings. I love angel and demon shit. So I haven't personally watched like Attack on Titan, but that kind of gruesome like grip you at the side of your chair, seeing who's gonna die next is cool. So I'm gonna stay with Icarus Rising, but Scrap Circus was super good too, and I really liked it. Tento, again, it wasn't bad in any way. It was really good, but it felt like Pokemon.
Yeah, I would pretty much agree. Icarus Rising was really good. It's hard to compete. The guy is clearly, I would assume, well known and official, so it's hard to compete with that. So congratulations, Icarus Rising, Brandon Chen and Muhammad Ali. Big congrats, fantastic manga. So that is the last one that we're doing for reviews. We'll potentially be back if some other contest shows up or something. But for now, Tezuka thing we've beaten to the ground, so we're going to call it there. We will be back with one more video discussing what we thought was our winners, so the winners of the winners. And that will be the last of the last. And then we do have still reviews going up. So if you want to see actual official mangas getting reviewed, we got that. We do a monthly manga book club. And then we also do other stuff spread in. So check out the channel. Stick around. If this is the only thing you watch, we got plenty more. We'll see you guys Friday for the last video of Tezuka. Until then, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.